What's up, y'all? It's your fit doc, aka Kristen Snow, and I'm back with your weekly dose of medicine. Today we just finished a test. We had a heme test. How are we feeling?
On my birthday, I'm not feeling that great, but I'm glad it's over.
It's over. So yeah, we just finished that, and of course we have 2 lectures, which I'm gonna watch virtually, and we're just in this room because, like I said, I don't go to lecture. It's cold. It makes me feel like I'm about to get sick, and I don't have time for it. So I'm gonna watch the lecture. I think you all know that I do med school boot camp before I do my lecture. You can do either or. Like, you can do the med school boot camp after your lecture. It doesn't really matter, but I'm gonna do it before just because, I don't know. I just want to. And I can watch lecture faster after I get through with it. So we're gonna do that. Later we have a clinical skills exam and an ultrasound. So it's on different days, but me and Johnny have them on the same day. So today is our day. And we have to go over ultrasound first, and we're actually gonna be working like a real person, so that's gonna be cool. And then we have a clinical skills exam. I've done this before. Y'all know we've kind of done this like twice at this point. So we have a clinical skills exam, but the only difference is that we actually have to give a SOAP note now. So we have to write the HPI, chief complaint, all that, and we have to send it to our PCC, like, director, whatever. So that's what I have to do today. And I'm also gonna get all my work done because we have plenty of papers to write. We have two papers to write. I'm gonna write those today because I don't have the time, because they're due towards the beginning of our cardiology block, end of heme block, and cardio, I already know it's gonna be crazy. So I'm just about to pump out all this work. That way I can relax for the rest of this weekend, because we have a 3-day weekend, and I don't have the time to be doing anything else other than relaxing, because that's what we deserve. So I'm just gonna like do a little montage of y'all watching us study and go over lecture, because why not?
Tell me what you see in me. Gotta be something different. You must be made for me. Patience is everything. In and out, in and out, in and out. Arguing, trifling, difficult. Let more. I don't know why you love me. Yeah. You got it bad. You got it bad for me, babe. I don't feel glad that I can have this, babe. Nobody else you. Nobody else made it through. Nobody else had a clue what I could do, what I could do. We're right around the love, right around the trip, right around the dick, right around the slap me up. I think I'm throwing a fit. Right around the world, right around talking to me.
Okay, y'all, so I'm taking a break. I went through most of lecture. I have one more lecture to do. I use boot camp before I do lectures because I've found, at least especially for this block, it's helped a whole lot with HEMOC. So if you're doing this video, I think it's worth to give med school boot camp a try, because I'm telling you, I've recommended it to a lot of my classmates, and they have like loved it. Like, they've loved it. I ended up being able to watch the actual lecture on 2x speed. I just took my first heme test, and I feel like I don't feel like I really needed to go over lectures like that, because med school boot camp has had it all there together, baby. Period. What I need that for. So I'm gonna eat for a little bit until I head to my ultrasound. I don't even know what to call it. It's not a class. It's just like a session, I guess. We're gonna be learning like how to do an ultrasound, like how to use it. And we're gonna be actually using people, like real people, real patients. So I don't think they're patients. I think they're standardized patients, but like real people. So I have that in about 15 minutes. It's 1:15, so we start at 1:30. I'm gonna enjoy this food. Got me some chili and some cornbread. And I'll take y'all with me for the ride. After we have ultrasound, we have a clinical skills exam. Again, y'all have been here before. Like, if you watch me, you know that I do clinical skills exams, I think once a month at this point. So we have that, but the only difference is this time we have to write a SOAP note. So I'll key y'all in on what that looks like later on today. What's up, y'all? I'm back. My day is finally calming down. I finished my CSE, my clinical skills exam, And I had a patient who had a chief complaint, it was like a sore throat and a cough. So I had to basically just give my 2 cents about what I thought that it was. And I personally feel like I get in and out of those rooms way too fast. Like, I don't understand. I'm like, I'm in and out. And I told you that, like, my PCC instructor says that, like, you know, oh, like, you did a good job. Like, I was impressed. But then, like, my patient gave me feedback and was basically saying that I talk fast and they didn't want to, like, feel rushed, basically. So, you know, I was learning about other ways to be more open. Like, I guess instead of, whenever you're asking the patient, like, you know, what brings you in? Instead of, like, going into asking questions, like, you know, say, like, oh, well, tell me more about that. Like, if you have sore throat, tell me more about that. But what happens is, like, they kind of just say, yeah, I just have a sore throat. Or, yeah, I just have a cough. And it's just like, so anyways, I don't ever get to, right now I'm just putting in my password because I'm about to finish the rest of lecture. I didn't finish my last lecture from today. So, yes, y'all heard it. I had a test. I had a clinical skills exam, and we did ultrasound. And then I am finishing up lecture because we had 2 lectures after the test. So you heard me right. I know this sounds crazy, but I think a lot of people kind of romanticize medicine and like being in medical school. I'm just letting y'all know this is the real deal. This is the busiest that I have been. I will give y'all that. Yeah, I have not been as busy beforehand. That's what I was saying. Yes, I just feel like have a conversation. It's an easy conversation if you're like in medical school or a pre-med and you're like, oh my gosh, how am I going to talk to these patients? We do have a class, like my school specifically has a class on how to speak to patients, how to talk to patients, what to say, how to say it. I personally just feel like, you know, how would you have a conversation with a person that has something wrong? Like, what are the questions that you want to ask? It's simple, but I have realized that, you know, in the medical community, people don't have any social skills, so it's not as simple as it should be. So I guess some tips that I can give you all who are like taking these classes or if you're in medical school would be to use something called like old cards. I don't know if y'all have heard this, but basically this asks about like what about the chief complaint. So old cards. So O is like onset. Honestly, I don't use this because it just comes common sense to me to ask these questions. So I can't tell you what they all stand for, but you can look it up on Google. Old cards. It stands for like onset, intensity, what makes it worse, what makes it better, rated, like what's the rating from, what's the rate of like severity from 1 to 10. There's like, it's an acronym. So y'all can look it up. I'm sorry, I don't know it off the top of my head. I don't use it. I just think it sounds too robotic. So it just doesn't work for me. But hopefully it'll work for you if you want to use it. If not, scrap it. I think the point is just to get used to talking to patients and getting used to kind of like being, just being in the room and asking those questions. So again, I'm about to write up my soap note I'm about to watch this lecture and we're doing anticoagulation medication right now. So again, our first heme exam was today. And now we're talking about like meds. I'm assuming like warfarin, heparin, probably some vitamin K inhibitors or something like that. I'm sure it's gonna be something like that. So I'm gonna watch that and then I'm gonna get started on these papers that I need to write because I have 2 papers and a soap note. So I told you I have to do a soap note to conclude what my clinical skills exam was about. That's gonna include the chief complaint, HPI, family, social, medical, surgical, history, all that, and the physical exam. So I have to do all that. It's due tomorrow, but I'm going to do everything today because I'm not doing anything tomorrow after small group. We also have to go to small group from 8 to 11 tomorrow. Yes, they are being ridiculous. This is what I was about to say. This is the busiest that I've been up until this point, having to do these papers and write these assignments. So it's not always this much going on. Normally after a test, like we have downtime. Like we may have lecture after a test, but it's typically like lately it's been on a Friday. So like we'll just like not watch the lecture on Friday, or we'll watch it, but like we won't really be going hard. And then like we'll just, you know, rehash it again on Monday or something. But the fact that we have our test today, like on a Thursday, it's kind of just like, wow, so you're just using this as a way to get in more lectures because we have 2 lectures today and then we have 2 lectures tomorrow, I think. So to me, it's just like, this is the first time where we've actually had a required small group after a test. Like they're really like working us right now in this heme block. So it's not always like this, but it is pretty busy. So after I do the rest of my lecture about anticoagulant drugs, I'm going to write my SOAP note on my physical exam, or on my clinical skills exam. Then I'm going to write a personal narrative. I think you have to write basically a narrative about what it's like being sick, what it's like feeling sick. It's like four pages, I think, double spaced. So I'm going to write that. It's going to be quick and easy because I don't know if anyone who watches me knows this, but my dad passed from kidney failure, really. But really, he passed from cardiac arrest. But he was on dialysis. So it's definitely easy for me to speak about like sickness and like what that looks like, what that feels like, what's the day in and day out. And don't get me wrong, he still operated as a functional human being, but there were still some times where it was just, harder. So I definitely can relate. So I feel like the personal narrative, even though it's 4 to 6 pages, double spaced, I think I can just write this out, like just type, and just get that done. And then I also have to write a paper about this assignment that we have, and it's called Meet Your Neighbor. And basically it's about how we had to meet with like a nursing student, a pharmacy student, I think maybe even a dental student. I honestly can't even remember, but we had to meet and we had to talk about, I guess, like, the not intersectionality, but I guess how we all work together in healthcare. And so we had to do a write-up about that, and I think I have a draft already, so that shouldn't take me long either. So altogether, I have about 3 papers to write. You heard that right. It's 3 papers, and it's 4 o'clock right now. It's 4 o'clock. So we're going to try to get this out. I also have a meeting at 7 because I'm trying to run for a position at my school. So I'm going to try to get to this. I'm going to stop chatting, and I'll see y'all later. All right, y'all. I'm going to call it a night. I did a lot of things today. I wrote a personal narrative, which was a 4-page paper. I also wrote a SOAP note after my clinical skills exam that I had today, and I turned in another writing assignment that was pretty much already done with, we already completed it beforehand, but I just submitted that as well, along with the survey that went along with it. Not to mention I had an exam at 8 a.m. today. So all those things in one day. I also did an ultrasound session, learning how to do an ultrasound on a standardized patient as well. So it was very, very busy. I was very productive. I also completed yesterday's lecture and today's lecture because after our exam we had 2 lectures, and I was already behind on yesterday's because it wasn't going to be tested. So of course I didn't look at it. So I did those as well, along with the med school boot camp videos that coincided with those. And I'm just feeling really productive. I'm so glad that I was able to get everything done. Thanks for sticking around if you're still here. And I'm going to end the vlog here. I got me some comfort food. If y'all have not been to Freddy's, or if there's not a Freddy's around you, I'm so sorry. But I just got me like a double, number 1, with some fry sauce. Stop with the fry sauce. I got me a little root beer. I may make it into a little drink before I go to sleep. But yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm just going to relax for the rest of the night. Thanks for watching this video, and I will see you in my next.